Thank you again for supporting Top Virtual Staffing Solutions Virtual Town Hall. For today's session, we will discuss the future of moving, or even the present, and storage as well. And we have Mr. Don Hott here as our guest speaker with Moyer and Sons. Don, welcome.
Well, thank you very much, Manuel. Very nice to be here with you all today.
Awesome. Thank you for being our subject matter expert regarding moving. And as we all know, without COVID-19, this is possibly one of the busier times for people buying and selling homes or moving residences and so on and so forth, especially that school is over. So, but right now we have a different reality, as we all know. With that, is there anything you want to discuss there? But before you discuss that, feel free to give a little bit of background of who you are and what you do for the organization.
Sure. Yeah, my name is Don Hott, and I'm with Moyer and Sons Moving. Our company headquarters is in Clarksburg, Maryland, and I'm GM, General Manager of the branch office in Elkridge, Maryland. And I've been with the company for a little over a year and a half. I've been in the moving industry, actually started helping my father when I was 13, and I'll be 62 next month. So many summers. We measure the moving industries in summers starting early May through mid to end September. It's the peak season. We're very busy. Usually we're booked out months in advance. But that is one of the differences this year, is that people have been apprehensive about moving, even coming out of their residence, anything, which nobody blames them for that. That's for sure. So it's good. Our summer will probably run well into the autumn and late into fall this year with how far. I know we're at least a month and a half or two behind where we should be in the moving industry, most likely in the realty industry, just because of COVID and where we have been directed by CDC and the pros, the doctors, just about really, as I call it, stay in my little box, your little group, and don't get into groups and things like that to try to let this thing pass as much as it will so they can get a vaccine put together for us. So, we're looking, everybody, of course, is praying and looking for that. But in the moving industry, of course, before it was, it was a couple months ago, no mask, now mask, gloves. We still are doing these things every day. I love to go to the people's house and get an understanding of what they're doing, why they're doing it, and how Moyer and Sons can help them the best with their move, whether we do part of it, all of it, whatever. So it's really, you have to be a people to be in this industry, because you're handling all of the customers' possessions they have here. So we're very concerned about them, their health, and this is why we're taking a lot of precautions and steps to keep our customers safe, as well as very important for our crews. We love our crews, and we want them to be happy, safe, and we've done everything in our power to go with that.
Sounds good. And when you mentioned about possessions, that's private for them. That's very personal for them. So I appreciate that. And again, we're honored to have you here as our guest to go ahead and help the people, especially that need help. Because I know before we were recording, and I know that's where we have met through Coalition of Geriatric Services. As many of your the people that you serve are up there in age. So I know you mentioned certain things already, but if you could go ahead and identify, maybe with this question first, And I know we are following CDC guidelines as much as possible and state and local guidelines. So we are recording it right now, June 18th, and things change pretty much every day, every week. So whatever we'll be sharing right now, oh, actually, you know what? Before we continue, I apologize here. I need to have my specific disclaimer. Everything that we're discussing here, it's only for educational and informational purposes only and not prescriptive. So please make sure you reach out to the necessary professionals or experts for what is best for you and your loved ones. So there. Anyway, all right, we're done with that. So on that note, so you are following all of those guidelines. As of this date, can people move now, or what? Are there any restrictions? What can you share with us?
Well, and that's what's so weird about this is that every city, state, everybody has different scenarios. On the meeting you had the other day with the travel fella, Jay, it's very important, even like my daughter is moving to Florida the end of this month. And we had to go look up Florida, where she's moving to, and see what their COVID notice was. It's very important. If you're moving to the area you're going to, check out what they allow, what they don't allow. It's very important to follow their rules, regulations. We don't want to get there and have a problem. So that's a good hint, is check your destination where you're going to. As far as ourselves and our people, we're taking, and it's just like every night the trucks are cleaned out, washed out. Same thing, washing your hands. I never washed my hands so much in my life as I have in the past 3 months. Probably many people, except doctors and things like that. But we do it now because we have to. We know that it's keeping us safe, and we have to keep our customers safe. They go, they wash, they put the gloves on, they'll use them. Every one of the trucks, they keep boxes of gloves, boxes of masks. We get there, a customer does not have a mask on, we're going to give them one. We want them to have a mask just like we do to protect them, So that's one of the things that's important to us also. Same thing with our warehouse. Our warehouse, we keep it swept, cleaned. When you walk in our door here, you sanitize your hands. You walk in, you walk out, just like a doctor's office. We're just being very careful. We want our people to be safe as well as the customers, and in moving their goods, keeping their goods safe. So that's what I have to say on that part of it there anyway.
All right, sounds good. And speaking of moving, as some of you guys already know, I'm associated with AAA Physical Therapy, as the physical therapists are movement experts personally. But that's why we have Don right here, and he mentioned another session that we just have regarding the future of travel, whether it's business or leisure, with Jay. And I think that's a common denominator. Wherever you are going, or whoever's receiving you or your stuff, you have to go ahead and pay attention to all of those guidelines and details. And then it's also possible that things are a little bit different. If, for example, well, I don't know, you can tell me, but is it possible that one apartment area will have different rules and regulations versus another apartment area? Is that a possible, even in the same city or location?
100%. It's just like when my daughter's down there looking for an apartment right now in Florida. They are having a time because, of course, the people will only meet with you certain times. If you go in, then they have to clean, especially with the uptick where she's going to in Florida. They have to go in and clean the place if you've come in, go out, the hotel if you're going to stay, to check out someplace. Everybody's going through the same thing, so you do have to pay attention, follow their rules, their guidelines. They don't want to see you come in there coughing, sneezing, and You better have a mask. You better have gloves. We keep right in our center consoles the alcohol, everything. Just if it's here, it's there. We've got a terrific governor who I feel is taking great care of the people of this state of Maryland, and we're blessed to have him. I'll tell you that much, because him, and it's like Dr. Fauci, they're the people that have made it so that there are not millions of people that have passed in this country.
No doubt. And I think the reason why smart decisions are being made is because they listen to science. They listen to what the scientific experts say. And of course, it's very, very challenging to go ahead and just accept with one way through and through. But I mean, obviously, it's super important that we have Hopkins in our backyard. We have University of Maryland in our backyard. And so, and these are two huge scientific-based organizations that's impacting this. And of course, as I keep hearing the governor keep saying that we have NSA in our backyard as well.
Yep.
So, we need to protect the ones protecting us in one shape or form. So no doubt, yes, I 100% agree with that. Okay, now, so again, going back to that point, so technically speaking, people can move.
They can move. We will meet with them either virtually or in their home. Like I say, I like the home thing. I just make sure we're all well protected. Keep our social distancing is very important, and we'll go into that with the crews a little bit later in this session. But we keep our distance. I clean my hands, everything when I go in, when I come out, also. But yeah, we want to see what they have, even if it's virtual. Then they'll go through with their phone or laptop, show us everything. And there are a lot of real estate companies, to be honest with you, that you can go to their sites and look at their pictures they've done to sell the house. And the people say, that's just what it looks like. Well, add a little, look in the closets. All the closets are already loaded up, of course, because that's where they're hiding everything.
Exactly. Yes.
To make it look good. But you can look at a house through those pictures on a realtor's site and get a very good idea of what it's going to take to do the move. I've done that for many years, many times.
Sounds good. And maybe that's my next question. So, all right. So right now, people can move if they have to, if they need to, right? That's
yes.
good. Now, and then they reach out to you, and then of course sure, we can do things virtually, but maybe that's something I can ask you first. Hey, Don, I want to limit the people coming in and out of here. Can we do things virtually first, and then if you need to have a better feel, feel is the right word, but you guys are experts into this. You can go ahead and identify how big of a truck, how many boxes, and so on and so forth, because you can already identify, okay, there's so many fragile items here. That's a whole different beast versus just these big things that haul a little bit easier, or not as very meticulous versus a fragile item. So is this something that can be done, that we can go ahead and view things virtually first?
I'm actually doing that.
Okay.
At this point, I had a big one in DC down in Georgetown a couple weeks ago, and every picture was there. But I mean, everything very expensive, top of the line goods. I went to the house, looked at it, went through every single piece in that residence, just like I always do, and then saw, okay, what type of special packaging, handling needs to be done with their goods. The access to the property is very important, that we have to get our eyes on it. Although Google Maps is really good nowadays, as far as I can put myself in front of that house, look every way, look from down above. I mean, it's tremendous. But yes, there are some of them that can say, okay, you'll get somebody call and says, I have a 10 by 10 storage bin. Okay, a mover knows what that is. We look at, the access to the property, what type of move is it. Pretty good because most times they already have it packed up. But if it's a big house full of goods, somebody's going to want to do everything they can to get in that house and look at those goods and see what the list of the goods are, what care, concern, what special care certain goods need.
Yes. Well, I don't want to stereotype here, but if you're talking about Georgetown, DC, yeah, I can imagine that whatever's inside those houses are
This one was a trick.
if you may.
It was something else. Okay.
Yeah, something else. So, all right. And yeah, you're absolutely correct. So that's one of the things that you also utilize in terms of Google Maps. Again, right now, if there's anything positive that's going on, is that the use of technology for us to be able to continue to function, like what we're doing right now.
Right now, exactly.
And again, the reason why we're doing these things is to go ahead and provide all of these information out there so that you're getting it from the source and not just a hearsay, if you may. So, all right, wonderful, good stuff. So I know you've already identified, okay, that you guys, and obviously I'm sure you guys are already doing the cleaning that you guys were doing. But right now you guys are just more, just paying more attention to it, just like what you said, and all of us, which is rightfully so, we've been washing our hands more than ever, okay, before, during, after, from point A to point B, okay, and then again, identifying what it is. But with one of our sessions from our virtual town hall, we had a nurse and they do home visits. So she describes all of the precautions that they're doing. So though you are not in the medical field, I'd like to know, is that rather similar that what they're doing versus what you're doing, how you're protecting your teammates and how you're protecting the people that you're working with? I know you already identified those details, but is there anything else you want to discuss there?
As far as that goes, well, that's why daily basis, if you're in a business such as the one we're in, we keep an eye so close on our people and what they're doing, what job they're going on, what that job will entail under COVID, what kind of threat it may be to them. I had a move I'd done a couple weeks ago at a senior center for a lady I know there, and she had them come into these rooms we had to move goods out of, and the people professionally sanitized the entire place. And I've known her, we worked together before. I say, okay, so our fellas went in, full garb, moved everything where they wanted to go in that senior center. So you do hit those things, but we're about 3 months, at least over 3 months into this, going on 3 months now, and I'm comfortable with what we're doing, what we've been told to do by CDC, that we're doing the right things and protecting our people. I've not heard one word of one customer, on knock wood, but I hope, just haven't heard any problems with the customers coming back and saying, I got sick. That's what we got to stay tuned in and right on top of every day. Was there a problem? And we will react from that.
Okay. You should be hearing from your customers with all the good things that you guys do.
Oh, we do. We do.
That's what I'm sure you've been hearing about that. Yeah. All right. Awesome. Now, so with these changes, there are so many changes, and you guys have changed in terms of behavior and how you're moving and dealing with individuals and planning. Because because obviously there's so much more to go ahead and consider. And just like what we had last Tuesday in relation to traveling of human bodies.
Yep.
uh, what can you? I assume it's the same thing. There's no like super specific insurance of what COVID is and how it is. Is there anything different in that regard, or whatever your? Because everybody, if you have a business, you have to purchase a liability insurance in one shape or form. So, is it the same? What have you guys seen in that regard? Okay.
Yeah. Well, we've been very lucky and done the things we have to do, so we haven't had any exposure in that area. As far as like when you move household goods, you can purchase additional coverage to protect the goods. But we're so new into this that I don't know. And I mean, and it's what they call it, the invisible fiend. You can't tell who's going to get it when. I don't even have a clue about that. Is when, how haven't I gotten it? How haven't you gotten it? Where are we at? What do we do every day? So it's really, like most of our people, we do our work, we go home, we're with our family, and everybody's staying centered around their family. And that's a good way of staying not having the problems, is just staying in your group, That's and as far as somebody suing somebody, this thing is unknown to anybody, as far as having a lawsuit or something like that. Now, if you were irresponsible, you just don't know. If I saw somebody was sick, a crew member, anything. I mean, if one of us doesn't feel good, go home for the day, keep track of your fever, see how we do. We'll call you later this afternoon, see what's going on. And we've been very good with that.
Wonderful. And on that note, as you continue to work with your teammates, have there been situations wherein some of the teammates have expressed certain things, and what are those things and how you guys address those? If there's anything you're comfortable sharing.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd be glad to, because that's why I do and we do the research in advance. I like to go to house. I want to see everybody's fine in that house. Or if we're doing the virtual, you'll look around and you'll see if everything looks okay or not. So you have to keep an eye on those things. Talk to the people, say, the questions. I went to the doctors for an x-ray, and they every question, have you been out of the country, this and that, and most people, they're going to be honest with you and let you know if they've had a problem or not. You ask them, is anybody had COVID, had contact with somebody that has had it? And those are the things we ask to stay away from that. I think our employees are comfortable at this point. It's been going on 3 months, and we've kept them safe, and we intend to do that.
That's wonderful. And again, the reason why I asked that is because there are multiple other businesses out there, and they're trying to figure out how they go about it when they have a specific teammate that they'll go ahead and express that they're concerned. And they're concerned not just to be difficult about it, but because maybe they have somebody in their home that's high risk or whatever the reason is. So with what you just shared, that's great. And I think that's the most important thing. And hopefully there would be some level of trust and faith that if I ask you, hey, did you travel from somewhere? And I guess that somewhere is also specific, because right now, it seems like there are other states right now that's becoming a hot spot anew. And I know you mentioned about Dr. Fauci, is that one of the things that he identified, this is not the second wave because we're not done with the first wave. So again, if I'm comprehending what I'm hearing from these sources accurately. So if, for example, like what you mentioned, your daughter is going to move to Florida, and I know from whatever I'm hearing right now, Florida seems to be getting a hot spot as well. So if, for example, are you asking those questions? Did you get out of state and so on and so forth? And And if they did, now you can also identify, well, I did go out of state, but I did not deal with anybody that was sick, at least that they're aware of. So what are the other follow-up questions, or how else do you navigate this rather sensitive topic, especially when it comes to one's health?
Right, right. Well, I want to go back and just state that I think the one way a company really controls it is due diligence by management. Absolutely need to be like I am right here, watching, keeping an eye, and making sure that we're doing everything we can do to control any outbreak, anybody getting the virus. As far as customers, of course, we're probably every mover is down from what they had done for the past 3 months, just because of the control we were kept under. Unless you're essential, stay in, don't go to work, stay home, everything you can. Then you don't. We look at what type of move we're doing with the people. We do a lot of local moves. So they're in their home, they're going to a new home. Just keep an eye on the everyday things, see if the people are okay, have had any contact. I know we just moved a gentleman from the UK over here. Of course, then, he's now under quarantine for 14 days, of course. And the same thing we were talking about on the with the Jay and the travel last time. You go to the UK now, and I do a lot of UK business. You go there now, don't plan on coming back in a week. It's at least 2. So yeah, you're gonna. That's what we try. We look at where they're moving to, what they're moving to. I have a customer that's going to be moving in with her mother, who she's had very close contact, have no problem there. It's the mother in her house by herself, be the lady and the 2 daughters. So, those sort of things, just going back and saying, anybody who's had it? Have you had any contact with anybody who's had it? Just following through with those, and you'll feel that comfort level that your people should be okay. And they could always walk in the house that day and say, something doesn't look right there. Well, let's put the brakes on. Let's talk to the customer and see what's going on.
Okay. Don, this is going to be one of the silliest questions that you may hear.
Okay.
But right now, I'm very interested. Like what you said, from UK, the human being is quarantined. How about their stuff? Is it quarantined, or you can easily just move it now?
No, there'll be no quarantine on, because, of course, the way we understand it, the virus is only going to stay active, live for a certain amount of time on material, on items,
Yes.
That's what we understand. So, no, we really didn't have any problems. His goods actually came to our warehouse. They're completely covered with protective materials. So something like that, no. And most, unless if it's a local, if something is going on in the area, or if there's something in that house, you'll get a good feel for with the people. If they're moving across the country, it's 1 to 2 weeks later when the goods get here. They've been kept, completely covered, everything. So the chance of the virus living is, what we understand, not there.
Okay. Gotcha. Hey, that's why I'm asking these questions, because we want to make sure that all of these.
Right. And I'm not a doctor.
Serious ones. I'm sorry.
I'm not a doctor. I do watch a lot of news, and I try to keep up with what's going in our world. I did international moves pretty much exclusively for like 11 years. So, like, I know what you can move. You ask me what you can move here, there, anywhere, I can tell you, so you keep up with what places in the world you can take goods to or not, what you can take, that sort of thing.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. So with the travel with human beings in our last session, and today in terms of move
Mhm.
of furniture and stuff, basically, or
Right.
living things. So he mentioned that he is going to travel for leisure to the West Coast.
Mhm.
I know I've already asked this question. So here's the question that I have. If I'm going to move, I don't necessarily have to go ahead and consider it super essential or super a definite need for me to move, or you know what, I really want to move outside of this apartment, outside of this home. I just sold the house, or we bought another house, or I have to take care of whoever and I need to be there with them, and all the other reasons. So whether it is an absolute need or not, people can move right now accordingly. Did I get that right?
That is correct. Yeah, there's no reason they couldn't be moved unless we have knowledge or can find out that somebody has had COVID, been through the quarantine, out of it. You know, I'll be honest with you. If somebody had COVID-19, had to move, and it's like a week after, I would definitely want, personally, I'd want somebody to come in, a maid or a service, come in and clean everything, get it all cleared off before we moved it out, protecting them in the future and ourselves,
Okay.
our employees.
Sounds good. That's great.
Just like at the senior center that I told you about, she had everything completely sanitized before, and that was the agreement. It was done before we went there.
Okay, awesome. Good. So, and again, that's why we're doing all of these things, because we aren't sure of what we can or cannot do with these specific subsets or niche of specific things. And it seems like there is a common thread that everybody's making the necessary precautions to be as safe as possible, wearing the necessary face covering, washing the hands as frequent as possible, and cleaning everything that we constantly touch as much as possible. And we can go ahead and still function. So whether it's home visits or physical therapy visits, or you going to your medical doctors, it can be done. Okay. The same thing with the move. If you want to go ahead and travel, as long as you follow those precautions, feel free to go ahead and do so. And right now, Don, from another field, that seems the common thread that I have been receiving from these subject matter experts, that yes, we can go ahead and do it because we're following the necessary guidelines to do so. And if there's something that comes up because of they realize they're in contact with somebody that's sick, or they themselves got sick, then we will follow all the other precautions after, like waiting at least 2 weeks to go ahead and making sure that everything is clean and everybody's been tested and the like. So no doubt, we want to go ahead and jumpstart the economy. We needed to do what we needed to do because we didn't know enough of the science back then. But right now, based on the science, we're learning a little bit more, and we're learning how to navigate with these realities. Was I able to encapsulate or summarize that?
Yeah, and one of the things that is in the background, Manuel, that a lot of people aren't thinking about, but I do, is, you know, they have this tracing thing they're doing now.
Yes, contact tracing.
Who did you have contact with and that? And keep your phone on, because you want to hear if a call, it's like, I know in Baltimore just recently, they were talking about they were having problems with trying to reach the people to contact them, that somebody has COVID-19 that they know, and they want them to go get tested, but they couldn't get in touch with them. But now I guess through that message out to the public, they're now having better reactions and getting in touch with the people and telling them, go get a test, you know?
Yes. And this is where one of the other public service announcement that we can go ahead and provide. Please make sure, even if you don't have plans to become a contact tracer yourself, but I would highly suggest to go through these credible contact tracing online courses that are free and available. So one of the things that I have done is through Coursera, through Hopkins with one of their epidemiologists there. So I know it's a very credible source for me to go ahead and learn exactly what is going on right now. And I understand there's so many other concerns regarding contact tracing, but the main objective here is to go ahead and inform each and everyone that, hey, it's possible you may have had contact with somebody with COVID-19. So yeah, thank you for bringing that up, Don.
Okay. Yeah, one of the other things that in the moving world, one of the things that I've seen recently is, of course, like in Baltimore, of course, the city government's been closed for months. Well, if you're a moving company, a lot of companies, you're in Baltimore City and we have to do a move for a company or whatever, then you have to reserve the parking so people aren't parked where you have to be to bring the goods out of the building, the residents, that sort of thing. Well, that has been no fun at all, but I've taken care of that. I mean, I've been in downtown Baltimore at 5 o'clock in the morning with my barrels and tape and everything blocking off so our truck can come in. So it's just one of the things you never hear about, but it's something that happens is we've got to get that truck there in front of that residence to load people's goods, their office furnishings, whatever, and I have to make it work. That's, general manager, go out there and make sure we can get the trucks where we need to. DC, I'm sure they're having a lot of fun down there also.
All right. And I think that's what we can go ahead and request each and everyone to go ahead and be understanding and be patient especially when it comes to these situations, so that these trucks aren't there 24/7. They just need whatever that time frame in order to go ahead and take care of things. And maybe this is the other thing that I could go ahead and ask you. All right, for the most part, it seems like we've been asking or discussing from a residential point of view. But right now, with again, because of the closing and then slowly opening things up, what have you been hearing in terms of the business industry, and what have they been sharing with you or asking you in terms of whether it's downsizing or quitting or whatever? I mean, I'm not going to say quitting, but just
no.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I can't find the right word here, but
it's actually very interesting to see what's happening in one circumstance with a business in Baltimore. After they were in this for a couple months, they had an office downtown, everything, and all of a sudden through Zoom and GoToMeeting and everything else, they determined, hey, we can work from our house at a nice office in Baltimore. And I think you're going to see a lot of that. A lot of people now will see. It's just like you and I see each other a lot on a Zoom and GoToMeet, whatever, Manuel, so it's same thing everybody else. They never did it before. They do it here or there where they need to, but now they understand we can get out there and meet. I don't have to have an office in town that costs me $5,000, $10,000 a month, parking $500 a month, this and that. So a lot of people and businesses are going to be making different decisions about how they're going to deal with what is going on in the world today and the changes that they should have made maybe, but this thing is going to make them understand better and quicker how to do it.
Okay. So have you seen that uptick then, that businesses are reaching out to you and saying, so what do they do with their stuff then? Do they put it in a storage place like you?
they may store it, sell it, dispose of it, put it, like if they may move a file cabinet or a safe in their house, whatever, so they can still, work from their study, that sort of thing. So yeah, it's happening, and if people haven't caught a hold of that, then as they go through this and use maybe over the next couple months these different ways to communicate, I think it's going to change a lot. And all on the other side of that too is, for a quick second, back to the residential. I do a lot of senior moves, and I can tell you that whole thing is going to change a tremendous amount in months and the years to follow, because of course with numbers I had were 60% plus of the deaths were in senior care centers, that sort of thing. And of course the children, demolished. They just very upset about it. And there are a lot of them that want to, as soon as they can, get their parents possibly out of there so they can protect them, take better care of them, put them in their house. I know I'm moving a 97-year-old gentleman that I'll be moving him this coming weekend, and we have to be very careful with it, everything, and do his move first, and then his son is living with him, taking care of it. So you see a lot of that happening with parents possibly coming out. Then I've got people that want to move into the centers, to the senior centers. They can't yet either.
Okay.
Yes.
And just going back to our initial conversation a little bit earlier, that you just don't say, okay, I'm going to move here. You have to go ahead and identify what here will dictate of what would be the changes, or if you can or cannot, or whatever other limitations you have to pay attention to. So, obviously this reality has impacted so many things, and but we're always looking at whatever bright side is that, of course, all of these leasing companies or offices will be impacted, obviously. And but if that's going to bring the prices down to whatever the fair market value would be, then the market will dictate that. So again, you just don't want to focus on the not so positive things, but look at the other side of what could we gain from this, or what are the benefits that we can gain from this. And so, yeah, sure, if all these businesses, okay, for me to be afloat, to continue to go ahead and work and be viable, then if I need to go ahead and downsize or whatever, because again, like what you said, if we can have this interaction right now, that, sure, it would be great to go ahead and shake her hand, give a man hug and cheer a beer during our happy hours at the Coalition of Geriatric Services. Even if that's really nice, but obviously we have to go ahead and make those limitations right now. So, all right, cool, good stuff. Now, is there anything else that I may have missed to ask, or is there anything else that you want to share in the world of moving and storage for both residential, business, or anything else in that, for that matter?
Well, just to take us down the road a little bit more, this is so very strange. After been in this industry years, I have been, and to have it, like when you're expecting to come into your busy season and you don't, and you know why, it's just, it's so weird, especially after, almost 50 years of doing this, and all of a sudden something different. But things happen, and you have to make the changes and deal with them, and be responsive. Every day I get up, I'm a responsible individual. I'm going to do what's right for our customers, our employees. I love our customers. I mean, I just do anything I can in the world for them and try to, I want to see them have a great move and be happy where their life takes them.
No doubt. That's what we all do with all the people that we work with, whether it's patients, customers, clients, and of course our teammates as well. No doubt. That's what we need to go ahead and do and pay attention to. And
networking buddies.
Yes. Exactly. So, but yes, no doubt. And actually, I want to have a follow-up question. So for people trying to sell it, or if they can't sell it, you said they just dump it?
Yeah. You'll have all kinds of things happen. Because of course, you probably aren't going to get what, a lot of people will use eBay and things like that if they're comfortable with it, sell goods online. But yeah, we've had stuff that people told us, get rid of. I've got some goods in the warehouse right now that I moved to people back when this first started to give it to a charity. And we have a charity we work with, and they've been closed, just like all of them you call. I'll name, there's Goodwill, Salvation Army, one called Wider Circle that we work with. And these people have been closed for going on 3 months. So they're finally opening up a little bit now. So we have goods we can give them that they can get money for to further their assistance to people.
That is great. And speaking of charity, I know every session I want to go ahead and ask all of our guests to go ahead and identify a nonprofit organization, or however many, that you want to go ahead and highlight, because in this world, I know majority of the individuals are hurting in one shape or form, but there are other individuals as well that's very much capable of sharing whatever they can share, whether it's time, money, resources, or at least on our end, just go ahead and share these ideas. So Don, what nonprofit or what nonprofit organizations you want to share?
Sure. I just wanted to point out one thing also, if I may.
Go ahead.
Before I do that is,
sure.
If people are planning to move, usually we need in the summer a couple weeks notice, a month notice, but as soon as you know you're going to do it, you should contact a mover like Moyer and Sons, and we'll be glad to take the time and tell you where, because we're still going to get very heavily booked in the peak times that are end of month, beginning of month, Fridays and Saturdays book out early. So just talk to the mover and tell them what you're thinking about to get some idea of, okay, I'll call us back in a month or two. Make sure you know who you're talking to, and pick a mover. You can check us out, Better Business Bureau, everything. We're a very reputable company. We plan to stay that way, of course. So as far as the nonprofit that I'd like to take a minute or two about is called the American Autism Association. They're headquartered in New York, of course, and is a not-for-profit organization dedicated to helping families and individuals affected by autism while increasing awareness of the varied difficulties individuals with autism spectrum disorder face. I have one of my grandsons who is autistic. God love him. He's a blessing. But there's to be 3 of us in the house, and it takes all 3 of us to track him and things. They're just into everything. They're great kids, a lot of love, unbelievable. But I just wanted to bring them up here at this point. But I just, say, be very careful what you're doing, stay safe, think about what you're doing before you do it. If you're going out somewhere, wear the face mask. If you want gloves, whatever, however you're most comfortable, but protect yourself and others around you.
Thank you for sharing something personal, and I'm sure you said grandson, right?
Grandson, yes,
All
sir.
right. I'm sure he's a bundle of joy. All
Oh
right,
my God.
just like you. All right. Again, thank you for sharing something personal. And is there like a local chapter? I assume there will be local chapters, or everything is
I'm
local?
sure there is. I just really, if you go to if you go online to www.myautism.org, then I'm sure they have a locator where you can find out in this area. I know one of the big who he works through who is Kennedy Krieger, my son and his my daughter-in-law. You know, he goes to a special schooling. They work with him. They're great people. Kennedy Krieger is there. They're terrific, and he's come along a lot lately. Yeah.
That's wonderful. That's good to know. In spite of whatever we're facing right now, that's good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Again, thank you for sharing. So with our teaser that we did, I'm a little bit disappointed with you because you gave out your age.
No, I brought it up in the beginning.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying because I thought I said on the teaser specifically, we need to find out working as a 1-year-old. Come on, man.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, but it's my history, whatever. It's when your family is in a industry, you hear it at the you could be 10 years old, you hear it at the dinner table. And I remember being 13, and of course Maryland's laws are if your parents own a company, or at least they were, I don't know, but if you own a company, your children can whatever, they can come and work there with you, that sort of thing. So 13, I was in the warehouse, in the office, wherever I could help my father and learn about the industry. And he's no longer with us, but I think he's happy, for where I've taken this industry in Maryland. I'm past president of the Movers and still on the board of directors. And we really have worked hard for 40 years to bring this industry up and make it better in Maryland.
Sounds good. And again, thank
you for having us.
Yeah. So with 50, 60 years down the road, I don't know what Miko will be saying, that he's doing all of these notes, all of these virtual town hall sessions. Who knows how things would be. All right. Well, I just want to go ahead and highlight one of the things you mentioned. Yeah. Again, people can go ahead and move. And if you need an expert, contact whoever you want to go ahead and contact. Obviously, right now we have Don at Moyer and Sons. How are they able to reach out to you?
They can go to www.moyerandsons.com, and all the links are in there. It'll give you the phone number, email, everything, so that you can get in touch with us. It's Moyer and Sons, just www, then Moyer, AND, and that'll get you right to us. You can ask for me. We have tremendous management people. They're just unbelievable. This is their life. There's a family that owns the Moyers family, terrific people, best there are.
Awesome. That's good to know. So feel free to check their website out and be as informed as possible. And then at the same time, whether COVID-19 or not, you go ahead and factor in what do you think is the best thing for you. But if you're going to be concerned that with other people going through your stuff or belongings, again, we have discussed all the necessary precautions that they do. And hopefully everybody else in the industry is doing in one shape or form, because just like what we discussed, airlines have different seating policies, if you may. So even with those things, but the bottom line is that we are being diligent, as you've identified, with cleanliness, with washing hands and wearing and then following all the guidelines that's identified. And again, things change accordingly. So please make sure you pay attention to the experts and really understand what is going on, what can and cannot be done. So, all right, Don, before we wrap up, anything else that you want to share? Or Nico, you have been very patient there and I've been typing notes. Is there anything else that you guys want to share?
No, I enjoyed doing this, and I hope I've helped some people. And if you need any information, just contact our company, and anybody here will be able to help you, and be glad to.
That's awesome. Super. All right. So feel free to reach out to them and reach out to us for any staffing needs that you may have. And through AAA Physical Therapy, speaking of movement experts, go ahead and contact them too if there's anything that's going on. So as we slowly go back up, and hopefully it's as safe as possible, that's all we can ask for. As you go ahead and take care of yourselves, you're also taking care of your community members here. Thank you, Don. Thank you, Nico. So we're good. We'll see you then.
Thank you for watching, and I hope you found this video informational and educational. Please share our videos and subscribe to our channel. If not, my dad will not give me dessert.